I just love that we can cuddle.
Oh, I
Like
know.
be snug. Okay, that sounds weird. Like I'm not.
We're not cuddling with each other.
That's funny. Me and Ashley, we're not. How do I?
Snuggly people, unless it's like our partner. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of. It depends. Like if it's my decision, I am.
Well, we don't ever hug each other. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're more like high fives
Yeah,
or something.
which is funny.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. I have the most snuggly spouse.
You do.
I do.
You do.
Snuggle buddy.
Oh.
In fact, if I've said this before, but even if I get up to in the middle of the night, if I have to go use the restroom and I come back, he's like on my side of the.
He's on your side of the bed already.
Yeah. He's like, I was looking for you.
That's cute.
Oh, he's so funny. So funny.
Oh my gosh.
Big old teddy bear. Everyone's scared of him, but Ashley, how was your week?
What happened what is this week? Are we in September still? I don't know. It's been busy.
Why are you acting like you don't know?
I don't know what's been going on. What happened this week?
Why are your eyes so sparkly today?
They're sparkly?
Yeah, just like extra bright. It's like there's a little extra.
I quite literally hate your guts right now. This is so funny. And I'm keeping it in because I love that the mic catches that like your heaves.
It's I'm like I'm gonna blow someone's eardrums out. Also, what is that noise?
No.
I don't either. I'm crying.
You're crying. I saw a tear. I literally saw one fall out. But listen, we were like, can we please keep this lighthearted today? We're so sick of crying. We're both crying right now already, but it's from laughing. But I'm like, we gotta talk about something funny.
Yeah.
Well, okay, this week, Bobby helped me with a Lowe's campaign that I had, and she was dying the whole time.
She had these little mics that you hold next to your hand, but I'm filming. Everyone's probably hoping it's a boy, a guy.
No, it was not a boy.
Not a boy. I mean a man.
It was a Bobby.
No boys allowed in Ashley's life. Listen, she got me. She got my spouse.
Yeah.
Her protector. You better be a man.
Oh, speaking of your spouse, who do I call when I have a problem at midnight?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, Bobby and Mitch, what did I do? I locked my dog in the bathroom and I tried to break the door down. Well, no, that's not true. I tried to remove the doorknob, but even after removing it, she was still stuck in there. And I'm like, I need a man. So she did send me someone that she knew that lives close to me, came to my house at like 11 at night, got my dog out. But I'm like, man, there's things like this. And I'm just like, I'm not capable.
It's hard. It's weird because even I tried to open it and I couldn't.
No, it's stuck again, by the way.
Remember?
I'm still locked out.
They just like went. Blop, blop,
It
blop.
literally took 2 seconds. I'm like, what did you just do? I was trying to watch. So if this ever happened again.
And she even told me this is how they did it. And
I can't figure it out.
anyway, so yeah, that was funny because it was actually my husband's suggestion. We were trying to FaceTime her and help her figure it out. And then, we live about 35 minutes away from each other. So just called a local friend and they came on over.
Ew, that was so nice of you. So nice of him. He saved the day.
Yes. Well, okay, listen, this Lowe's thing, we got to come back to this
Oh.
because it was so funny. I'm trying to record Ashley and she has the mic here, but I'm filming laughing my head off.
She was laughing the whole time. I'm like, it's actually a good thing that it was like connected to a mic because you couldn't even tell you were laughing. You couldn't even hear you at all, but you were laughing the whole time.
She's like, she's not paranoid, but she seems like it. And this,
Every time I'm like, there's a person. But here's the thing.
she's like, Doc.
Oh my gosh. When it comes to like branding deals, they have very specific guidelines. It's like if there's a person in it, they have to approve of like being in your shot. And so if someone just casually walks on the aisle, I'm like, abort. We can't film anymore. And they're very specific also with employees. So we had to go to 2 locations, by the way, which maybe you couldn't tell. But the second location, there was a girl. Bobby's like, sorry, we have to like sneak around you because we're filming it. I don't think she understood what we were doing, but
A Lowe's commercial.
yeah, a Lowe's commercial, Lowe's campaign. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I was laughing so hard. I had to ask him, like, do you even have any good shots? First, the camera's probably like, whoa.
I know.
Shaking because I'm laughing, but that was a fun adventure.
It was a fun adventure. I'm going to have you come every time because I hate it's so awkward when I have to do that myself.
Oh, you just like have to prop your phone up and then.
I've had my kids try to help and they're like, like their camera's just like filming the ceiling or something, you know.
So funny. The video turned out really good,
Oh,
but the
thanks.
outtakes were hilarious.
They
I
were-
think
they
I
were
watched
funny.
it like 20 times because I was laughing. Because I know exactly what's going
You're
on.
like, I knew I was there.
Yes. So funny. This has come to my mind a lot and yours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just about building strong relationships.
Yeah.
This could be whether it's someone you're dating, married to, relationship with your kids. We'll kind of talk about some things that fit in with all of those, your family members, siblings, whatever it may be, a lot specifically to a companion or someone you're dating,
Yeah.
and kind of what fosters healthy relationships. And why do you think this is something that's been coming to our mind?
So I do Q&As often. It is the number one question I get. Number one, it's like, are you dating anyone? It's just relationship questions. So many of them. That's like probably 85% of the questions I get are this topic. So I'm like, well, we should highlight this and do a podcast on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So,
And also it's cool because we come from very different experiences when it comes to relationships. I was in one for 20 years. You were single for the majority of your adult life. So we both kind of have just different perspectives. And I think it will be unique to share our experiences, right?
yes. Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. So, in your opinion then, Ashley, and we're going to bring up some actual statistics from the relationship experts. Okay, this stuff is really good and we'll share some on here, and what we can't share we'll do another video for our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
That's just an app that we have where we share a lot of like recipes. Ashley's 6-month journey is on there towards fitness and some workout routines and just different really good stuff in there, but we more deeply dive into different things.
It's more of a deep dive in
We're like
Patreon.
bestie. There are bestie pals in there.
Yeah, it's like we're talking to our best friends, so we go a little deeper with them.
Yeah. We don't joke around.
We don't joke around.
You were in a really long-term relationship, and we don't have to deep dive into any of that, but what are some things that you think you want to have become even more strong in relationships that will come in your future?
Well, any of the top priorities in my life, the same kind of values, kind of have the same vision with our future. I think that's a really, really important thing.
So are there certain characteristics? Because everyone is different, you know, like this is interesting. I made a list one time. I did a mission trip for my church, and at the end, I went to this sermon, and this guy was saying, go home and write down. He didn't even know there's single people in the audience, right? But he said, go home and write down a list of what you're looking for in a partner, and then write down a list of who you want to be for a partner, and go live your list.
Wow, I love that. Live your list.
Live your list.
Wow.
And that just kind of pierced me, like, who is it that I want to be? And so I did that, and I tried really hard to live my list. Well, one day I had some interest in someone, and it wasn't maybe the most healthy situation for me, but you are kind of blinded if you have an attraction to someone.
Yeah.
So I was praying, you know, my prayers were like, can you make this person mold into my life?
Yes.
Why do we do that? That's not the right thing to do. You want to find someone that you already share common values with and then build a life together. I was praying, and as I was closing my eyes and I was trying to fall asleep after my prayer, this image flashed through my mind of this green bin. And I was like, this is weird. And I just had the thought, go to your garage. Well, my garage, I had to walk out of my house to get to the garage where I lived at this time. So I walked out of the house, went to the garage, saw this green bin. The top paper was this list that I had written years earlier. How would I have known?
Wow.
And I was looking at this list, and this person at the time only had 3 of the 15 things that I was really seeking out. And I just knew it was like, nope,
Wow.
not for you.
That is so amazing.
and I let it go.
Wow.
So,
That is so important. In fact, Bobby helped me with this. It was a year ago. I was on a trip by the beach. And I just remember sitting there. She's like, you need to get serious with this. Like, if you just kind of date around, you will find yourself molding into like, oh, this person's. So the first thing that happens is attraction. Then you're like, oh, maybe we don't share the same values. And I was finding myself doing that. And I'm like, well, kind of the same thing. Like, we can just mold into each other's life. We can make this work. And it wasn't until I sat down, I was on the beach, I sat down and I pulled out my notes on my phone and I just started writing down all of the qualities that I wanted my future husband to have. And so I wrote this list out. And then I did the same thing. I looked at it and I'm like, a lot of these qualities I'm not living right now. And so it was really a list for me to just start working on. I'm like, if I expect my future husband to have all these qualities, then I need to have them as well, because this is what he will be looking for this too. And so it's been almost a year since I made this list, and I just can't believe how much my life has shifted for good. I finally feel like I'm aligned with all of my values, all of my morals, and I'm like, well, now somebody with these same characteristics can find me, you know?
I think the value in writing these things down is, especially when it comes to your character and who you are,
Mm-hmm.
is that you already were those things on your list, but all of us fall away from that if we're not consciously remembering who we are. In fact, there was a time in my life I was getting really sick, and someone approached me. I had a teacher approach me, and she said, break down that word immunity. It means I'm in unity.
Wow.
And she's like, all these things that keep going on, you're not in unity with you. And she's like, just go write down a list of your core values, and are you living your list? I went and wrote these values down, and I'm like, I'm not living my list. That's why I don't feel at home in my own body right now. I didn't even feel like myself. So when it comes to dating, it's like, if you don't decide who you are, then you'll just take whatever comes into your path that you're attracted to, right?
That's right. That is exactly what will happen. And then you'll just run into problems. Also, if you meet someone and let's say, well, the first thing is, if you have a list, and it sounds kind of weird saying, oh, I have a checklist, but really it's just, these are the kind of qualities of a person, and pray about this, because God will help you in writing this. Like, this is what I desire for you to have. That's kind of the prayer that I had, was help me know what I'm looking for, because I don't know. Help me know. The thing with me too is I never really dated around. I mean, I was 15, 16 when I started dating my spouse. And so I didn't really know when I was 35 and suddenly single, I didn't know what I was really even looking for. I didn't know what, I'm like, I'm starting over. I'm starting from scratch. What do I even want? What kind of person do I want? And you also kind of lose yourself, your identity with this person. So that was a whole nother thing, was trying to figure out, I don't even know who I am without this person. And so there was a lot of just figuring out, a lot of learning about yourself and what like, God, what is it that you have for me? Like, what is it that you want for me?
I think the importance of asking that question to God too is, I think God sees more in us than we see in ourselves. And I believe that God will build our self-esteem. He knows what your future holds, and he knows what companion can be by your side for the calling that you have in this life.
That's very true.
And so I think that is a really great prayer, especially if you're in a time of being single.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually glad you brought up self-esteem, because this is another thing. If you find yourself in the same situation over and over and over again, like you're experiencing the same kind of relationships where maybe someone's cheating on you, or maybe you're experiencing some other kind of trauma that is not normal in a relationship, and you continuously have the same patterns, I believe it is your self-esteem. It's the lack of self-esteem that you have for yourself that lands you in this. It's like you keep putting up with this because you feel like that is really all that you deserve. And until you fix that about yourself, until you know, like, this is how God sees me, you wouldn't even allow 1 second of a relationship like that into your life. So if that is you, and you keep finding yourself in those situations, I would, number one, pray and ask God, how do you see me? That's actually a prayer that I prayed about 5 years ago. I think I was experiencing something in my life where I had the lowest self-esteem I've ever had in my entire life. And that was a prayer I prayed. And I literally saw like this visual of me, how God saw me. And it was unbelievable. But really, since that time, I'm like, is that real? I've never been able to unsee that. Pray and ask, like, God, show me what you see in me. Start getting your confidence from Him. Also, I think a huge part of confidence for me, this is what helped boost my confidence or my self-esteem, was making commitments to myself and sticking to them. And I think we did talk about this in a podcast, maybe a little bit, but I think a lot of the time the lack of confidence comes from you commit something and then you don't do it. Mm-hmm. One thing for me was when I did my 6-month journey, this was so much more meaningful to me than just, oh, I lost some weight, and it was over a 6-month period, but it was me saying, I'm going to do this. I'm committing 6 months. I did it on the first day. I said, I'm going to do this thing. I got it out there on Instagram and I was like, I'm doing it. And I committed that to myself, and then I did it. I followed through. And so after that 6 months, I realized, oh my gosh, I can. If I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And what used to be my biggest weakness, which was committing things to myself, I would say is one of my biggest strengths now. In fact, today I was looking at my, how I've been doing my, I've been closing my rings every single day. That's just been like something I've committed to myself. And today was 240 days of not missing one day. And I looked at that and was like, that is so crazy. 5 years ago, me would have never believed I could do something like that.
Yes.
So
that's just been so inspirational to me. And I know we've talked about this before, but I'm telling you, Ashley closing her rings, she was going on these walks, and it made me go on walks in the dead of winter. I'd have the fattest puffy coat that I could wear, scrunched so I can barely see because it's so cold, and I'd go on walk and talks with Ashley on the phone because we live a distance apart from each other. Yeah. So I would put my phone here and just chat it up with Ashley while I'm walking. And it really helped me get unstuck. In fact, I believe the reason we're both able to have emotion right now when you're pulling out of survival mode is because we did things to get unstuck, and it started with movement.
It did. And
accomplishing those goals built self-esteem. And from there, you just get in the level of empowerment where you're able to accomplish tasks because you have courage now.
Yes. And you're like, never again.
Okay, I'm trying to remember like the exact things. Actually, I will only share one part of this because this does feel a little more sacred than I would want to share with the whole world. But when I knew, okay, it's like there's scriptures about when a woman's in travail, meaning labor, she knows maybe not the exact time her baby's going to come, but she knows when it's prepping. I've never had an experience. I don't have my own biological kids, but you know when the season's coming.
Yeah.
Right. So I felt that as far as like a companion, I could feel that something was coming, but I had major doubts because my call in life was to be single a long time. I felt like I was a mother to many people, and I felt like the Lord was my companion. But there was a time that he's like, okay, this is the season. And in fact, in my early 20s, I had a very clear knowing that I would be older when I met my person, even the exact age. And it is the exact age that I met my husband. I know that sounds so wild, but I literally just had a knowing that I would be a certain age. So I never like worried, but then I'd forget that prompting, and it would just keep coming to me like, your season's coming. And in fact, one day I met this woman, and I couldn't date for several years because I had some brain problems from some really bad concussions, and it really wiped me out. I could barely manage my own self, let alone managing the good chaos of a relationship. Like, not that it's chaotic, but it's good stress. They call it eustress. And that's a good form of stress, but I just couldn't handle any stressors at the time, hardly. And I met this woman, and basically she described that my husband was coming and that I didn't need to worry because I would recognize him, that God was preparing someone for me, and that this, I had kind of been talking to a guy. She's like, no, nope, God has someone special for you, which was so interesting because I knew exactly. I knew right when I met Mitch. I just had this thought, that's my type. That's the exact thing I saw when I saw him. I didn't know if he was single, and I was definitely not going to go approach him. I met him at the hot springs, but I had the thought, that's my type. And he ended up coming and talking to me and found out we're the same age. I'm actually 6 months older, but whatever. And I just had this knowing that, he could handle who I am, and that God had prepared him in very unique ways to be with me. So
Yeah.
my take is that God makes room in your heart when the season is coming, and that there's a reason that things don't work out before that. And you go through these weird heartbreaks and you're like, oh,
you do. You go through weird ones, and you go through random closed doors. Tell me that my experiences haven't been so strange lately. They've just been so weird.
I'm just going to say this one. I won't say who it is, but someone was trying to set Ashley up with someone.
Yeah.
And there was some lost information, or information they didn't know was shared, like exchanging of numbers. Like a month later, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see this. The friend that's trying to connect her, oh, I didn't see this message. They did give their number and wanted to exchange. She messaged this person one more time, and they're like, oh, I'm dating someone now. And it's like,
yeah, I was like, that was so interesting. But every time I'm like, it's a closed door for a reason. And thank you. I literally pray to the Lord for that. I'm like, if it's a shut door, shut it immediately, or give me a reason, like, don't let this connection happen at all. I would rather. And it's so weird how often I pray that, and then it just, boom, that person's not for you. I'm like, thank you.
I think at those times you're like, oh, what's wrong with me? I remember doors slamming shut. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I honestly believed. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm like, that's so weird. But no, and like, now that I know, it feels like no time passed till I met my man. And now it seems like I've been married forever.
I know. I can't even imagine you. I'm like, you were single? Like, it's hard to remember that.
And anyone that sees Mitch and I together, it's just like, oh yeah, they go together. Anyone else I was with, it was like, eh.
I know. I never met any of these other men. How? I would find out through the grapevine. I'm like, you were talking to someone for 5 years? I didn't even know, Bobby. What the heck? You're like, I don't tell people. But
I think it's because I knew it wasn't going to work out. So I just always
Why do we do that? Why do we stay with people when we know it's not going to work out? Because I did the same thing.
I have like multiple thoughts on that, but why do you think that you do? And I'll share too.
Okay, well, I think loneliness. I don't know. I think also you have hope that it could be, or you can mold. Maybe if there's some changes that need to happen, you're hopeful that those changes will happen. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think that. And I also think sometimes we just have space holders. There's good things I learned from every person I ever dated.
Yeah.
And I'll never talk bad about people that I've dated because I only learned. And whether I made mistakes or they made mistakes, I have only learned great things from every experience. And trust me, I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'm grateful for them because they did teach me. But I view now, I remember at one point I had someone in my life for years. I wasn't actually dating this person, but I would get so mad because we were so close, but we weren't drawn to each other in like a physical way, and it was mutual. And I knew they weren't drawn to me in that way, and I wasn't drawn to them in that way. And I was getting so frustrated because they were in my life for years. And it almost felt like you're kind of blocking me from dating other people. No one's going to accept that I'm so close with this guy. And there's no way I can date anyone. But I also didn't feel to let that friendship go at the time. So then we both wondered, well, maybe we're supposed to be together. And it's like, no, like that would never. In fact, I knew clearly the strangest thing happened. I remember praying, like, God, why is it that we can't feel that way about each other or be together? And I saw this plant, and these two plants, they were in the same pot and they were growing together, and it was the cutest. I love plants. And at first these plants were growing so cute in the same pot together. And then all of a sudden one day one just was growing out of control, and it was sucking the life out of this one.
Wow.
And I just had this knowing, like, you have to part for both of your growth. I literally repotted those plants and they both grew just fine after that.
Wow.
I was like, oh, it was a season. So that's what I'm getting at. Sorry, long story for that. But I think that was the space holder. And then even my brain injury problems, I couldn't have a serious relationship at that time. But when my husband came, I was made well and I healed. And it was the exact time that my spouse came in my life.
And you didn't know what was going on with him. He was married, nope. And then was divorced for a few years, but he needed that healing time too. So it's interesting. There's this quote that says, it won't be 1 second late. God's timing is so perfect. So you guys did meet at the exact perfect time. You couldn't have met him in your 20s. Mm-mm. You couldn't have met him at 30. It had to be when you did. And all of the things that you went through made you ready for him, and same with him for you, You
just know because you connect in the most peculiar ways that like only God knew that that's something that I needed. Or
right.
Funny little quirks, like my spouse and I love the same places, like Star Valley, Wyoming, Kanab. These are like treasured places in my heart, and he loves them too. I don't care if you gamble, but I just don't know how, and I don't like it. And he hates gambling. And I think that's so funny. Just weird little quirks we both had.
Yeah.
That made us connect. I'm like, huh. So yeah, I do think there's space holders. So you learn from every relationship, even if it doesn't always end well, you still learn. Sometimes it's because we're holding on to something we need to let go of. Mm-hmm. But also sometimes we just have people that teach us to prepare us for what's coming.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I learned the most fascinating thing about relationships. This is from something called the Gottman Institute. If you haven't studied it, they study relationships and what works and what doesn't work, predictors that relationships will end or predictions that relationships will thrive, and there's certain characteristics and qualities. And we're going to talk about a few of them today. We'll go into a more deep dive in our Patreon, like I said. Anyway, predictors that a relationship will not last are if you have more than 10 positive experiences and no negative.
That's weird.
Isn't that so weird?
This is so fascinating to me. She was telling me about this and I had never heard of it. So, which I think might have shocked you, but that just goes to show most people probably haven't. So I was really excited to hear about this. So you said something about 5 to 1. What does that mean?
So 5 to 1, for every one negative experience that you have
in a relationship,
okay. In order to build, I don't know if I'll say this exactly how it's written, but in order to maintain trust in your relationship, you have to have 5 positive to 1 negative.
Okay. Can you give an example?
Yeah. So if you get in an argument,
okay,
where both sides have maybe done something that needs to be addressed, it feels a little bit negative to get called out when there's a fight, right? Mm-hmm. You need to have some form of connection, like a word of affirmation, I love you. And you need to still have like a physical connection, maybe like loving touch, compliment them, go out on a date, or do the dishes for them. I'm saying these things that build healthy rapport. Mm-hmm. Then there will be trust. In fact, more trust than then if there's only positive and no negative, because the too much positive isn't believable.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense, yeah.
It's like you're not saying what's bothering you, mm-hmm. and there's no authenticity in it, and then it's like, okay.
That is so
You don't feel connected if there's not a little bit of coral.
And they've studied thousands of relationships, huh? This is so cool.
Oh, more than thousands, lots and lots. So, and then if the negative outweighs the positive, people won't stay.
So let's say if people have like 3 negative experiences to 2 positive, nope, it's not going to last.
Nope.
And it's because of building trust. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Just the connection will die. Mm. You don't believe that it's worth it anymore.
Wow. Maybe we should read some of the lists.
So I took some notes on this because this is from another institute and not just my own thoughts. And in healthy relationships, let me just read through this list and we'll just talk about a couple of them on here. So in healthy relationships includes interdependence, a balance of togetherness and independence, effective communication, mutual respect and admiration, emotional availability, shared positive sentiment, a growth mindset, and the ability to manage conflict constructively. So then it goes on. Some key aspects of this are nurturing fondness and admiration, showing affection and appreciation, and responding to each other's bids for connection.
Wow.
So that's a lot. And we obviously don't have a time to go into all of these today. But Ashley, just because you've just come out of a relationship and I'm in a marriage now, I know it's been a couple of years, but what does that interdependence mean to you?
Oh, this is super important because, and something that I had to learn, I found myself very codependent. Again, I was in a relationship from a very young age, same person. So I couldn't imagine even functioning outside of that relationship. I'm like, I can't hardly even live a day without this person. Like, I can't imagine walking away and living forever without them. So I had to learn how to become independent away from that relationship. But I also know if you're fully independent, then that means that you're not willing to kind of accept another person into your life. So
Yeah.
interdependence is you can be independent, but you still enjoy companionship. And then also interdependence is, I'm willing to accept someone into my life that's healthy for me. So you don't want to be codependent. Don't want to be too independent. So I think that's just a really good balance of,
Yes.
yeah.
I think so too. And for those of you listening, if you have thoughts on, why it's not healthy to be in a codependent relationship or what interdependence means to you, or if you'd like to learn more about that, just comment and ask us whatever questions that you have about that, because this is a big topic that it would be impossible to cover in just one podcast.
Right.
That codependent idea can keep you in unhealthy situations because you kind of lose your identity in it, and you fear life without this person, even if it's not healthy.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what led you to interdependence, Ashley? Because I would say there's been some shifts in your life and you're a very happy person.
I am. I'm very happy alone. And that was what I'm probably the most proud of over the last almost 2 years is I never thought I could get to that point of, I can be fine on my own. But I always wish that. I'm like, the day that happens where I can actually sit down and be like, if God doesn't have someone for me, I'm okay. And I have reached that point, but I also feel like there's like little things that have been shifting in my life that I'm like, I feel like I don't know. It's almost like for a time I felt shut off to the idea, which was probably a little too independent. And now I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I would accept someone else into my life.
I actually think there's a reason for this because I was totally fine being alone. And then I'd have these little bouts of sadness that would come into me like, I do want a partner. And I had some fierce independence. I'm the oldest daughter in my family. My family had some turbulence with my dad going to war. So I became like a mom at 15, basically. I was helping raise the kids, even though my mom was wonderful. She did an amazing job, but I naturally took on that role. And so I was like, I don't need nobody. I got this, and I also, just for other reasons, I just became very independent. But I would have these bouts of just this sadness that would come upon me. And I swear God was like trying to keep my heart soft so that I could step towards a relationship. And right before my man came, I was feeling that a lot. Like for a long time, I wouldn't even listen to love songs because it would like make me sad. And I'm like, no, I will only listen to Jesus music. I don't want to hear about this romance stuff. It would make me sad.
I remember you also sharing how it's almost like God carries you through times. And then once he's like, it's time for you to, I don't know, whether it's find a person or what am I trying to say? He gives you the strength and then all of a sudden he doesn't anymore. And you're like, oh my gosh, what is that? What am I trying to say?
Well, I think of part of your interdependence is that you're in I'm not going to say a romantic relationship with the Lord, but the Lord is your companion in your seasons of singleness, and especially if you let him be. And that you are carried through those seasons and functional and able to accomplish great things because the Lord is with you. And I almost feel like it's not that he withdraws a spirit, but he creates space inside. And the idea that, I do want companionship.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say? Let me pull this up.
Oh, you know what? It's kind of random, but I know you got married a year and a half ago, but you celebrated with everybody. It was 1 year ago because it was on your birthday. I remember that. September 21st, because it's this song. It's the last day of summer. How special. That's so crazy. I can't believe it's already been a year.
I know. That is very weird to look back on.
What a fun wedding. You had the cutest wedding.
It was, huh?
The cutest wedding.
Ashley,
What?
you never really got a wedding.
I know.
Is that so
I
sad?
didn't. Yeah, it's a bummer because I'm sure maybe most of you know, maybe some of you don't. Yeah, the day before my wedding, my almost to be spouse ran. Literally, I experienced runaway bride, but the groom. So I had made everything. Back in the day, my dream job was to be a wedding planner. So I kind of used that as I'm going to do just like when it came to my own wedding, I did everything. I made my own cake and I even had it made.
So cute.
I'll show you guys a picture here because I used to make cookies and cakes for people. Like that was something that I did. So I made my wedding cake. I mean, literally every little detail of the wedding I had made. And so what a freaking bummer. I never got that wedding. It was so sad.
When you guys actually finally did get married, it was just at the courthouse. Right?
We just went to the courthouse, yeah. Because I mean, I'm not doing that twice. You know?
Yeah.
But I have thought about that. Like, that's something to look forward to because I never got to experience that before. Yes, I was married for 13 years, but I never had a wedding.
Yeah.
I would like one.
I felt like I had 2 weddings, even though I only got married once. It was fun. I mean, probably not for everyone that helped me because I'm not very good at decorating, but my sisters do love that and they took on a load, I'm telling you.
Oh, it was so cute. Your wedding was so cute.
Yeah.
We stayed up, for a couple of days making
Frames.
Stick frames, and they were so cute.
Ashley helped me put them together.
We did. I think we went in my backyard to find a lot of those sticks. Ugh, it was so cute.
They were so cute. I'll have to pop a picture in or something.
Yeah, we can plop up some pictures.
When you get married again, we're not going to say if.
Yeah, I would have some kind of wedding. It doesn't need to be crazy extravagant, but something.
It's fun. It's always worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that day memorable.
I'd want to celebrate. Mm-hmm.
I made my family hike.
I made my family hike.
To my ceremony.
You're so funny. So I didn't know Bobby got married. She texted me after you sent me a picture. You're like, guess what, girl? I got married today. Oh my gosh, I was screaming when I got that message. But watching, I think Kelly posted the funniest story of you. She's like, what bride gets lost for an hour on her wedding day and is just like chill about it? Like, it's fine. You guys got lost. So tell me that experience. I have no idea what this is about.
Okay, because I did have a brain injury, I just didn't want it to be stressful. I had close family and a couple of friends that came to help. I was going to elope, but I did have family there, and my husband's dad was diagnosed with leukemia and multiple myeloma. I can't say that word, multiple myeloma. So we got married on their anniversary because we thought that would be special. Things weren't looking good at the time, and he's still here and okay right now, but kind of okay. He's sick right now, but I just wanted a fun day for everyone. So we made necklaces. We made our own jewelry the night before, and I'm sure it was hard to put together. It was almost like a retreat. And then we got up and both families came together. We had a big breakfast, and then we planned razor riding. Like, we went out on razors and rode around. So people rode around, some kids swam and jumped on the tramp. My friend let us host at her house, and then we got married up in the wilderness. My childhood best friends and I went out on this razor ride. We're scooting around and get lost.
What? On your wedding day?
Literally on my wedding day.
You got lost.
We tried so many ways. I could see the trail, but I couldn't get back to it. There was these ravines, and I just could not find it.
Were they freaking out?
They were freaking out, but they weren't because I wasn't.
Because you weren't. I can see you just being like, what are we tripping about? It's fine.
Yeah, I was like, it's okay. Everything always works out, and I believe that. And I drive people nuts because of that, but just everything always works out.
You're like Jesus on the boat. Like, chill, everyone.
Yeah,
Why are we freaking out?
Yeah. Calm yourself right down. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
So I didn't have as much time to get ready. Okay, then when we got back, everyone had left. My house where my family was staying was 20 minutes from where we were being hosted and 15 minutes from where we were getting married. Well, everyone had left to get back to this place. So I didn't even have a ride to get ready for my own wedding.
This story, how do I not know this story?
I don't know. I've never told anyone actually.
Oh my gosh.
So finally someone had to come and get me
Like,
to take me
can
back.
someone give me a ride?
And I'm like, I hope I can at least comb my hair. That's all. Like, can I just comb my hair? But
Bobby, I hope I can at least comb my hair on my wedding day.
it all worked out though.
You looked like the most stunning bride. What do you mean?
My sisters, who would I be without them? I don't know. And my brother, he did so much. He brought all the razors down. We had to carry our chairs because we literally had to hike up a mountain to get to the spot. And my mom and sisters made it so beautiful. And then did my hair, my makeup. And I was just so thankful. Like, you can see my sister at the last second. I have a little wedding video and she's just prepping me up. And listen, my dress, it was under $100.
That's amazing.
And it was so pretty for me. I loved it. So create what you want. Something I had to learn is a lot of people are going to have an opinion about your day, but make it your day. Don't change it because of what someone else wants. You'll regret it. And I remember I never have conflict with my mom, but she's like, you're going to make us hike? Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird.
I was like, it's not, Mom. It's just my dream. And I want you to be there. And we are going to have to hike a bit to get there. So,
Oh my gosh.
and we did, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
And now I have a friend that she's getting married there now too, because it was so pretty.
Wow.
So anyway.
And I loved Mitch's suit because it was such a unique color. And that was something else. You're like, people thought it was weird, but no, it fits so perfectly. I'm posting a picture of you guys right here. I'll pop it up right here. Oh my gosh. The views, the colors, like the color of the rock, the mountains, your guys' outfits, your flowers. Like, how did you have that vision? It was just so perfect.
I have no idea. I just was so drawn to terracotta. I love fall colors. That's the color of his suit.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't know. I just was really drawn to those colors. I've actually had a lot of people ask for my color palette. Someone said, I want to do my website in this color palette. What? I've had other people getting married that wanted that very similar palette. So amazing. It was beautiful. And I got to keep the flower. I did fake flowers because I knew I was going to be celebrating twice. Mm-hmm. And they looked... I still have my bouquet. It's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I love it.
So enough about me. Can't wait for your day.
One day.
Mm-hmm. Even if not, like, it doesn't... Here's what I'll say. God sustains you through your seasons of singleness. I cannot believe how many people I got to meet through the land and love because of those single days.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
It is lovely. I have found a lot of joy in this season, actually. And so that is something that I'm like, you know what, if I'm to be single the rest of my life, I'm okay.
If you have a companion, it's amazing too.
Yeah.
I knew God sustained me, and he actually sent me great friends that filled in for where that lacked. But I can feel a softness about me that has changed since having that support. Like, I'm not the one taking care of all these certain things. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel supported, and it's great to have companionship.
I actually, like, years ago had an experience where I knew, like, eventually I will find someone. But I always, that's just a prayer I always say is, whether you do or not have someone for me, I'm okay. But I always hear, I do. There is someone, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, there are a couple of things. This is talking about in here just having resilience. And I want to close with this idea, and we can share more again on our Patreon, but because there's so many notes we could go through. Why do you think resilience is you have a strong ability to handle life's challenges together and can fight off negativity by recalling positive memories? So why do you think that would be important for a relationship?
Well, I think that, you know, in life, you're going to bump into each other sometimes. And it's important to recall the good times, all the good memories. I think that was something I was actually really good at in my last relationship was I almost could only focus on those times, and it just really kept my bond strong in my last relationship. So
I think resilience is important. Honestly, all of these things are so good. Having a growth mindset, we won't deep dive into that, but growth mindset is important. You don't want to be fixed. You got to be open. Mm-hmm. And you want to nurture fondness and admiration. I think I experienced, because I was single for so long, I experienced a lot of people that were emotionally closed. So those are the people that drag you along. They like your company but don't want you to stay.
Oh,
And
yeah. We don't want that.
no,
No.
you got to be emotionally available, be willing to be vulnerable, and that's really hard to do. But a sign of a healthy relationship is also you're comfortable with that emotional intimacy, and that's important to know that it's okay that you don't have it all to you don't have to have it all together. Actually, just really hope that for you, you don't always have to have it all together,
Yeah.
and you'll have a companion that can support you when you can't be your strong self.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed with Mitch and I, when I'm strong, he needs strength. When he's strong, I need strength.
That is so true.
Well, once again, join us for deeper conversations on this in the future in our Patreon, because I think relationships is such a huge topic. And honestly, even like the 5-to-1 ratio, you can look at this with your kids. If you have an experience where you have to correct a child, or even if you're corrected, you got to just build 5 positive experiences to let them know you're still safe. I still love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really relied on that idea of the 5-to-1 ratio with my bonus kids, because I'm not their natural mother, and I still have to have rules and boundaries at my house. And so for any conflict we've had, I do try really hard to make sure that we have many positive experiences together as well. And I would say I think things are going really well right now.
That's awesome.
So any final words for our listeners?
I don't know.
Miracle moment?
Do you have one?
No.
I don't know if I do either.
You also said in the last one you were going to share the story of mourning.
That's right. This was something that I was going to share. And it was not listening to a prompting. So many years ago, my grandma, it's my grandma that I always post. She's still alive. She's almost 92. So this is when she was a lot younger. She had a 2-year-old at the time, older kids too, but her youngest was 2. And she was in the kitchen cutting up vegetables, and she heard an audible voice in her house that said, "Beverly, go get Steve." And she said, I slammed my utensils down and like turned around like, who is in my house? Hello? She's like calling out, who's here? And she's like, and I ignored it, and I just went back to cutting up my veggies, and I heard it again. And she said it was like, Beverly, go get Steve. Audible voice. She's like, I slammed my utensils down again, and I went to the front door, and as I was turning the knob, I heard screams from the front yard. And she runs out there, and there was an ice cream truck out front that had run over her youngest son. They didn't think he would survive. They rushed him to the hospital, and it was like with both tires, both. Like, how do you survive that? He was sitting down in the gutter, and the ice cream truck didn't see him.
Holy cow.
And they didn't think he would survive. I mean, there was all the signs that he wouldn't. They told everyone, like the doctor had said, everybody come say your goodbyes, basically that night. And the next morning, he was still alive and showing signs of like, that he was going to be okay. He had broken everything, both of his legs, like it crushed him over his pelvic area. Anyway, he ended up surviving, and that was my dad. So he was in corrective walking shoes till he was, I want to say high school, if I remember. But he ended up being the most athletic man. He played volleyball. He was a skater, biked, surfer boy. You know, he grew up in San Diego. So that story, though, my grandma shares it all the time, because she's like, if you hear that, oh, you listen the first time. You know?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That is so wild.
It's my dad. He literally, I would say from the beginning, just suffered. And it's so sad. Like his whole life, he just had situations where he was just suffering. You know, he ended up being a double amputee. He was diabetic and had every health problem you could imagine. Lost his fingers. And he was in a band, so he'd play guitar. And then he couldn't do that because he had to amputate fingers. I mean, it was just so sad.
Wow.
You know? So sometimes I think of him on the other side, like, oh, he's finally whole and healed from all of the crap that he had to go through in this life, you know? Yeah.
Such a wild story. In later podcasts, we'll talk about times where we didn't listen to go along with this, and just why it's so important to listen to that still small voice, that intuition, that gut feeling, just
always listen.
Listen.
How often are you like, oh, it was the first thing that I thought, and I went with like the second thing because you start to doubt it, whatever it is that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Always go with that first.
Go with the first. So, okay, till next
All
time.
right.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.